Greg Stubbe is here to continue this conversation. Merry Christmas to you, Congressman. It's good to see you as
Merry
always.
Christmas.
As a conservative, what your fellow Republican colleagues did, opening a path to continue the cancer that is Obamacare after it's done so much harm to our people. It's unconscionable. Democrats attack our president with Crossfire Hurricane, attack your entire party, the entire Republican Party, through Arctic frost, and that's still not enough to unite the GOP. But what's more infuriating is that your party is so devoid of those unifying principles I always bring up, that every Republican is going to be silent, allowing these 4 Republicans who crossed over and helped Democrats for that vote on Obamacare, they're going to be silent and allow those 4 Republicans to define all of you, because nobody wants to talk negatively about left-wing fake Republicans. Where am I going wrong?
Oh, well, you're not. And what's even more unconscionable about that is the fact that I think 2 of the 4 were here 2 years ago when every Republican voted against extending COVID-era Obama ACA tax subsidies. They voted against it if they were here. I think it was Lawler and Fitzpatrick. So now all of a sudden, because the Democrats have made health care an issue and have shut down the government this year because of the ACA tax credits, which is horrible policy, by the way. Oh, by the way, the ACA tax credits and people on Obamacare, their subsidies and premiums have increased by 55% since 2014. So this is not a healthcare policy that is good for Americans, and that's if you can find a doctor that's covered by Obamacare. So it's very fascinating. Ever since the speaker has become the speaker, we've moved to the center instead of cozying up to the right and conservatives who got us elected, and it's been very frustrating as a member of Congress.
Yes, and as somebody who's a conservative watching it from the outside, it's been very frustrating too. The other side, the Senate, wasted, what now? We're on 6 months now. They've not worked on a second reconciliation bill. Senator Kennedy notified us of that. But they have worked diligently over there to make sure President Trump's U.S. attorneys get no hearings, because those U.S. attorneys would be the lead on holding Democrats accountable for what I believe were their illegal activities. Is the U.S. Senate under John Thune running out the clock on behalf of Democrats, do you think?
Well, they're not only running out the clock, they're also not willing to do away with the filibuster, which means any good conservative policy that comes from the House dies over there, because you got to go to Chuck Schumer and 8 Democrats to get anything passed. I mean, that's the reality of the world that we're living in. So every good conservative piece of legislation that we do pass in the House, like I'll give you a quick example from last week, was the NDAA. We passed a very strong, very conservative NDAA that I voted for months ago, that then goes to the Senate, gets watered down with all these horrible provisions because you got to get 8 Democrat senators to vote for it, comes back to the House, and we don't even have the ability to do amendments to it, and we have to vote yes or no. You saw 18 Republicans, conservative Republicans, vote no for a variety of reasons. You saw more Democrats vote yes than no on the NDAA, because it's all watered down by Democratic policies.
Incredible. Devastating Quinnipiac poll showed the Democrats' approval rating is at -55, Congressman. Massachusetts Democrat Seth Moulton admitting the quiet part out loud. Listen.
And that's the way a lot of Americans feel about our party, that we're just out of touch and can't be trusted. And let's look at some examples. In the Biden administration, a lot of Democrats went around saying immigration isn't a problem. There's nothing to see here. And then, of course, there was inflation. Rather than have an agenda on affordability, like you see from Mamdani and Spanberger and Sherrill, the Biden administration said, hey, don't worry about it. It's transient. It's going to go away. And then what about the kind of icing on the cake, which is there's nothing to see here. Everything is totally fine with old Joe.
Congressman, I'd ask Congressman Mike Lawler this question, but the last time he was booked on this show, he canceled on us. So you know this guy. Why would an alleged Republican like Mike Lawler or his cohorts want to ally with a party that is supported by only 18% of our nation?
You have moderate Republicans like that are in swing or Democratic districts that believe that they have to run to the left and appease the Democrats and independents in their districts. I've never believed that that's the case in politics, because your conservative voters that voted for you as a Republican to go and do great Republican and conservative things up in Washington will abandon you in your upcoming election, because you're no different than voting as a Democrat, other than voting for leadership type issues. So it's very frustrating for conservative voters in those districts, and they will abandon you in the midterms, which is why we see the electoral numbers that we see, because Trump's not on the ticket. So if you're a Trump voter, conservative voter, why would you show up for these individuals in a primary? Because they don't feel like they feel like they have to go to the left to satisfy Democrats. Democrats aren't going to vote for you. Only Republicans are going to vote for you. So why would you upset your base by voting with Democrats?
Pretty much. Congressman Greg Steube, a great dose of conservatism. Refreshing to hear from Capitol Hill. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it.
Good to see you.
Straight ahead.